could open with a joke. Okay, so two snakes. What camera am I looking at for the joke?
You can look at me directly in the eyes if you want.
Well, two snakes crawling along in the jungle. One of them says to the other, "Dad, are we poisonous?" The other one says, "I don't know, son. Why'd you ask?" He says, "Just bitten my lip."
I'll put in some like dust.
Yeah, tumbleweed. Hi, I'm Bobby Harrison. I'm off on tour with Sir Cliff Richard next month with Matrix Amplification. For the last couple of years, I've been using Eternal guitars, which are hand-built by Dave Walsh in Chichester, UK. And the last tour we did, I took two of them. At the time, I think I only had two. I've now got five. I'm not taking all five, I'm taking my two S-types. One is a traditional 3 single coil pickup configuration, and the other is HSS, so I've got a humbucker in the bridge. And I'm also taking a lovely new T-type, I nearly said the wrong word then, but you've got to say T-type, that Dave built for me for some of the more kind of twangy songs. Well, the other two that I have, one is, it was not strictly a custom build, it was actually a right-handed guitar. Being a lefty, it's quite cool to do the Hendrix thing sometimes and play a right-handed guitar strung upside down, but obviously it doesn't lend itself very well to every gig. You know, it's more of a showboating thing, really. And the fifth Eternal guitar I have is a T-type, but it has a humbucker in the bridge and a P90 in the neck. Absolutely brilliant guitar. But I've got, with the S-type, I've got the HSS, you know, the humbucker thing covered. And with Cliff's set, a lot of it, it's as much single coil as it is humbucker. With the kind of rockier numbers like Wired for Sound, Devil Woman, you know, they tend to be more kind of humbucker-esque, because they're live, they're given a much rockier treatment than on the record. But with the Hank Marvin stuff, you know, you need that traditional kind of 3 single coil configuration. Yeah, all of the Eternal guitars are, you know, custom built to my exact spec. You know, the neck profile, the fingerboard radius. Eternal guitars have a sister company, Hot Rod Pickups, and they make absolutely brilliant pickups. The T-type that I'm taking out has what are soon to be my own signature T pickups, which I've named T-Dogs. It's got to have T in the title, you know. So they're really the bridge pickup is very kind of P90-esque, almost kind of going into humbucker territory. But you can roll the volume back and get that more kind of traditional kind of telly type sound. I think I can say telly at that point because I'm referring to the actual guitar. And the middle position is, you know, all the kind of country sounds that you need. But in terms of switching, there are some interesting things going on. The T-type is just a traditional three-way, but my HSS Eternal, I think it's possible to get, I think it's 10 different pickup configurations out of it. You've got the traditional 5-way, but there's also a coil split for the bridge humbucker. There's a push-push switch, which will enable you to have the neck pickup on at all times. So you can have bridge humbucker and neck, but you can also have split humbucker and neck. So that's kind of that telly style, you know, middle position sound. It's also possible to have all 3 pickups on at the same time, which I wouldn't really go for. It's still a usable sound, but in the context of this set, it's not. But it's a really, really versatile guitar, and I think really, if I was just to take one guitar out, it would kind of cover everything, you know. So it's super versatile. I mean, other things I have in all my electric guitars, I use Graphtec string saver saddles, because without those, I am a huge string breaker. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's my attack or, you know, just the way I kind of handle the guitar, but I tend to break a lot of high E strings and D strings, strangely enough. So I think about 20 years ago, I put Graphtec string saver saddles in one of my Strats, and that was it. You know, from that point on, I've used them. People say they affect the tone. They do affect the tone. Obviously, they're not going to sound the same as brass saddles, but I really like the tone and the sustain as well. So my live setup has really, over the years, I've streamlined it so much. When I first started touring with another band, you know, I had more rack gear than you could shake a stick at. I was using valve amps, which, you know, obviously we all love valve amps. I later moved into just kind of streamlining the floor side of things. So I was using the TC Electronic G system, which was great. Eventually moved on to Fractal. There's always this debate, Fractal versus Kemper, you know, versus Helix. We all know that they're all great and they all do brilliant jobs. And I did use the Fractal setup with a Matrix GT1000 FX 2U. I used that for a number of years, and absolutely brilliant. But in the last couple of years, I've been using the Kemper Profiler, the Kemper Powerhead. My whole touring rig, apart from the Matrix NL212 cab that I use on stage, but the Kemper, the Kemper remote and expression pedal cables all fit into a Pelican 1610 case, which is brilliant because you can put that on a plane. It's, you know, super protected, and I've got a really simple setup this time around that I've been using for the past couple of years, which I love. So it's the Kemper Powerhead straight into the Matrix NL212. There's talk this time around of maybe miking the NL212. I've been using it on stage just for a bit of kind of trouser flappage and just to kind of feel like you know, just to give it that I hate to say moving air because everyone says that, but yeah, just to move some air, you know. But there has been talk of miking it up, but I go direct to front of house. Yeah, I've been using the Kemper remote, which is absolutely brilliant. It's a little bit surplus to requirements, but I don't know if you can see this board here, but I've got the Mission expression pedal, which I'm just using as a kind of global volume. But I have a pedal board, which is a Pedal Train Junior, I believe, and it's just powering one tuner, which is a TC Electronic Polytune Mini. So it's being powered by Voodoo Lab pedal power, which sounds a bit excessive. I didn't actually go out and buy that just to power a tuner. I repurposed it. But I love having a tuner kind of always on, and that just goes to the direct out of the Kemper. So you don't have to, you know, all of these modelling amps have built-in tuners, which are great, but it's just that instant thing of being able to roll back the volume pedal and just to be able to tune. I'm a compulsive tuner anyway. If there's 2 bars in a song where I'm not playing, I'm tuning. So the Kemper remote just sits on top of that board, and that's it. Just go to front of house. We're on in-ears live, and we've each got our own individual Avion mixer. So it's a wired connection as well. I'm not using a wireless. The first tour I did, we did use a wireless because I came out to the front of the stage and I was in different places. But yeah, so it's just, you know, kind of wired connection. And it couldn't be simpler. It's so easy to travel with. It sounds great. You know, I love the NL212. I'm pretty much using the same rig for filming, recording as I am live. It's just, you know, kind of all in one at the moment. I do have valve amps that I will never sell, but you know, just the ease of use is absolutely brilliant. For my tuition website, I use exactly the same setup, so it's just like a one-stop shop really. In terms of Kemper profiles, the Michael Britt profiles are absolutely brilliant, and I find that, I mean, I tend to kind of set it and forget it, as they say. You know, at the start of a tour, I'll find, or when I first started using the Kemper, I found a bunch of sounds that I really liked, and I tend to use those as a template for everything. Michael Britt has profiled, I think it's a 65 Vox AC30, and in that bundle that he sells, I think there are about 30 different profiles of the same amp in various gain stages, and various, I think there are a couple of cabs as well that he's used, and they're all brilliant. You can go from the clean kind of Hank Marvin settings, which I obviously need, right through to kind of, you know, Brian May. It's just, it's great. I tend to use that Vox model a lot, and you know, tweak it slightly. Obviously, add any, you know, delays, reverbs, modulation, because there's quite a bit of tremolo. There's quite a bit of chorus in some of the 80s stuff. And another great Michael Britt profile is I think it's a 69 Marshall, and that covers a lot of the kind of mid to kind of high gain settings, and it's really, you know, it's really simple. I mean, it to the point where when I first got it, I started messing around with these sounds, and now I don't really think about it that much. You know, when we go through the set list, obviously I'll have a different sound for each song, but it could vary as much as just a different tempo for any kind of delay. You know, just slight tweak of the modulation. So it's I probably for this tour I'm probably using about 3 different amp models. Well, the NL212 came off the back of I actually had a hernia operation about 3 years ago, and I'm sure a lot of it was the result of carrying around 4x12 for 20 years. And even, I've done various tours where you've got a crew and you've got a guitar tech, and, you know, all the load-ins and stuff are handled. But, you know, when you go back to doing, you know, kind of club gigs, pub gigs, I was still lugging this thing around. And sometimes in a flight case as well. And I got rid of it, sold it, and bought the NL212 because I just, after the operation, it's going to sound like I'm really old, but after the operation I just couldn't face lugging anything again. You know, I just thought that just the thought of it, even if I could physically manage it, you know, the thought of picking up even a regular size 212, it was just such a joy to, you know, be able to pick something up with one hand. But what really kind of floored me was just the sound of it and how it sounds like a 412. It's a huge sounding cab. You know, it's got all the kind of headroom you need for any sort of gig. And the first time I actually used it was for a couple of blues gigs, just pub gigs, with a head into the cab, and it just sounded amazing. The NL212 sounds vastly superior to any rental cab that I've used, because when you do those kind of flyer dates, you'll have a list of available backline at the venue, and you'll get there and, you know, you could just plug into a potato. It could, you know, it might say, you know, a particular brand, but it could just be anything. It could be something that's been, you know, kind of thrown down a flight of stairs, or but it's just, what I really like about it is it's, apart from the weight, it just sounds so big for, you know, for what it is. It's like its size, its sound belies its stature, you know, a bit like Ronnie James Dio. I go stereo into front of house directly from the Kemper, but in terms of on-stage monitoring with the NL212, I've tried both ways. At the moment I've got it in mono, because I don't really have a lot of stereo effects going on at the moment, but it's equally, it sounds great mono, you know, it's got like that real kind of cab feel to it. Well, there's a lot of variety in the set, particularly this time around, because it's Cliff's 60th year in the business, if you can believe. And every era has its own kind of tonal kind of challenges. But we've also, you know, encountered, there've been songs in the set where I've played a nylon string guitar, which I've put through the Kemper, and it, you know, it sounds great. I mean, also deciding which guitar is going to suit which song of the 3 electric guitars I'm taking with me, because some of the songs are segued, some of the songs there might only be, you know, kind of like a 5-second break in between just for the audience to cheer, and then, you know, bam, into the next song. Other times Cliff likes to talk to the audience. He might, you know, be telling an anecdote which will give you time to change guitars. But, you know, when I get the set list, I'll you know, kind of just bookmark which guitar I'm going to use, whether it's going to be, you know, traditional kind of 3 single coil, whether it's going to be the T-type, or whether it needs a humbucker. And it's not always possible when we get to the rehearsal stage to be able to make that transition. You know, you might, there have been songs in the set where I've had to switch guitar every song for about 4 numbers, you know, move into acoustic or whatnot. But yes, I think I'm going to keep it simpler this time, just because you don't want to get caught out, you know, with accounting and you're still kind of putting your guitar on. And some people are really surprised that I'm not using a valve amp. Obviously, you know, guitarists are a savvy bunch, and we all check out, you know, what the guitarist in the band is using. But it's actually people who have been cynical maybe about the whole amp modelling thing have been very surprised that it's possible to get these sounds out of it. And certainly, you know, a lot of people on the crew love the NL212. Can't believe the sound you get out of it, and also, you know, it's great for their backs as well. But yeah, I mean, the modelling thing is converting. I'm not saying I'm single-handedly converting, but more seeing more people using the, you know, amp modelers live is converting a lot of people that previously may have been, you know, kind of hardened purists, and it's pleasing a lot of front of house, you know, sound engineers as well. Do you know, I think my favourite song from the set is Wired for Sound, because I always had an affinity for that song when I was a kid. I remember hearing it on the radio, and but live it's a rockier version. It's just, you know, I mean, it really kind of motors along, and it's just great. You know, we normally play it at the end of the set, and it's just a great moment in the set where, you know, the audience has kind of warmed up, and it's yeah, it's great to play. Also, you know, I mean, just classics like We Don't Talk Anymore, you know, and there are great songs I find in any set when they're classic songs, whether it's a cover set or whether it's with, you know, an original artist, there are songs that you love listening to, and there are songs that you enjoy playing, and they may not be the same song. You know, there are some songs in the set where I'm not really playing anything particularly challenging, but it's just a great song to perform and to listen to. Whereas there are some songs where, you know, there might be a part that you enjoy playing, or there might be a part that you're coming up to it and you think, better get this right, you know. So it doesn't make it still makes it enjoyable. You still get that adrenaline rush. But I mean, everyone's got a song in the set where they think, oh, you know, I've done all right so far, but you know, song 10, I've got that, you know, it's at 180 BPM and I've got to do this particularly tricky thing. So yeah, I mean, I think it changes in terms of favourite songs. I think it changes from gig to gig and from one tour to the next.